I was saying this the other day while all the blood and the tears and the crumblings of mountains and monoliths were happening all around us. This community was still building. We're just like, well, whatever. Things go up, things go down, things go side to side. We still build, and we're still building. And I'm really, really, really stoked to see that. And I'm sure you are too, Joe. I mean, but it just seems like it's a ergo kind of paradigm. Doesn't matter what happens in the market. The community just builds. We just make stuff.
Well, there's a lot of noise it's just external dependencies that we can't really do anything about other than observe and learn how to build things the right way. I think that having the ability to step back and look through the market at what is potentially revolutionary, but also really, break it down doesn't make economic sense. Are there design flaws? How can it be further made trustless or improved upon or made non-custodial? How can we adapt all of the different developments that occur across our industry and really try to build them with the principles that Ergo is trying to promote in the space?
Yeah, and I mean that's really what it's about. I mean, right, Marty? That's really what at people when there's a bull market, when everything's up, people are like, screw the fundamental. I'm here for the tech crowd. We know what we're all here for. But when this kind of stuff goes down, when you hit the bears, when you hit these big time, these big time, whatever you want to call it, shed breakdowns, whatever. Okay. You really find out who really here is for the long haul and who really here is just just as a tourist. I mean, isn't that right, Marty? I mean, you've been in the space for a while. You know what the difference is between people who are here to build and people who are here to just kind of like take a ride and then do whatever.
Yeah, I agree. What you see like every other time this has happened in the past is you get all these projects and you're looking at the market, you're like, what should I invest in? And if you start actually doing some research, it's hard to see anything of value that's up at the top. You get a handful of projects where you look at them and you're like, well, why did this raise to this level? And when you get a bear like this, it's nice to see a lot of those projects that it's difficult to have a strong thesis on. They start to fall off, and the ones that you can see are really doing something important, they tend to survive. So it's one of those checks and balances that just happen regardless of what you do. So it's nice on that hand. Of course, it sucks to look at your portfolio, but
yep, it's.
Yeah. But like the whole thing with the portfolio, as they say, I mean, Joe, this. It only hurts when you sell, and I'm not looking to sell. I've been saying this since the beginning. I have not sold a single erg, and I'm not going to sell a single erg. I'm only going to use the erg to if I'm going to spend it, I'm going to spend it on the ecosystem. I'm not going to spend. I'm not just going to cash out because to me, I just don't see the point. I mean, of course, yeah, you want to take profit on whatever that's okay, right? But to me, if I actually enter an ecosystem, it's kind of our friend Cardano Whale. Ada Well, he said it really well about I guess a while ago, maybe last year. I think he said it that it's almost it's not just like you're going from one software package to another, right? It's almost like you're a citizen of a country, right? Because that's what it's about. You're in a community. It's sort of like a jurisdiction of its own. It's a digital jurisdiction, and you use the currency of the digital jurisdiction within that jurisdiction. Of course, you can use it outside, but it works best if you use it inside, right? It's got the most buying power. It's got the most economical sense to use it on the inside, and that's why that's how I see the Ergo ecosystem and the Cardano ecosystem. By owning both of these coins. Is this the same for you, Joe?
Yeah, this week has been interesting. You kind of people lose their risk assumptions, and when markets are hot, they just lose their risk assumptions, and then suddenly party's over, time to sober up. I think that this event certainly kind of created that mentality where suddenly, everybody kind of knocked them out of their inebriation and they're saying, wait a second, I need to make sure that things that I'm doing track. And the reality is, I think you should, everybody should have some level of skepticism and doubt whenever they're putting their money into anything. And then, that's not true just in the crypto space. That's true if you're going to buy a house, buy a car, you should go around, check it out, kick the tires, get it inspected, make sure that you understand the risk that you are inheriting. And that mentality gets less and less and less when, the markets are hot and everything appears to be golden, but that's usually just a temporary phase in the market.
Yeah, it goes up, it goes down, it goes side to side, but we just stay here and we keep making things.
Yep.
And so, well, I brought this up. I know everybody's talking about this. I know everybody is looking at the charts. Everybody's looking at the portfolio, and some people are really depressed about it. Some people are not that depressed about it. Some people are happy that they're going to be able to come in at a lower price or whatever. But the main reason why I brought this up, and I'm sure you guys will back me up on this, is the Ergo ecosystem is okay. We're fine. I've seen people worry about this. Oh, what if happens if the price goes? Look, we're in a really good place right now. If you compare it with when Ergo just launched, I mean, this is a really good place to be. I think that we will be just fine. We'll come out on top. We'll come out even 10 times stronger in the next bull market, and we don't have to wait for the next bull market to build. We're building right now. For example, with the help of ErgoPad, we're building now. This is what counts. This is the time that counts the most, because when the markets are hot, everything, like whatever you throw over the fence is going to work, right? Pretty much. I mean, you could sell. Were they selling bathwater NFTs on Cardano? And that stuff went up in price. Something like that. It's like bathwater NFTs. And but that's the nature of the market. It's a speculative market. You do whatever you want. You throw it into a hot technology, and people are just going to scoop it up. But this is when it counts. And I just want to tell the community, and guys, I mean, you'll back me up on this, right? We are solid. There's nothing to worry about. We're solid. We're chugging along. We are at warp speed to blow up this community like you've never seen before. Am I correct?
Let me say, look at what Ergo was doing 6 months ago, and look at where we are now. There's so many new things coming out. There's so much new code out there and new software out there. Like we built staking contracts, vesting contracts. People are releasing NFTs in different ways. There's all kinds of things happening. There's 2 new wallets. We're just basically improving things for the user experience and building everything that Ergo needs to really like thrive in the next bull market, So if your thesis was 6 months ago was, yeah, Ergo's worth 17 and I'm willing to pay that much for it, then your thesis shouldn't be the same. It shouldn't have changed by now, because now Ergo is a lot easier to acquire, and a lot further along technologically. So just stick to your guns.
Yeah, and if it has changed, sorry, Joe, you can jump right in after this, but if it has changed, you really have to think about why you're here. I mean, if $17 Ergo had you excited about being an ecosystem, but a $2 Ergo does not excite you about being an ecosystem. If price is what excites you about being an ecosystem, then you should re-examine it. I mean, that's just my look at that's the way I look at it. What do you think about that, Joe?
Well, I think that Ergo has taken the time to invest and build a solid foundation. And sometimes, understanding what makes sense, focusing on assumptions, focusing on tools, focusing on, SDKs, is not sexy, but it's the part of the house you never see, right? Everything is built on top of the foundation that we've been building. And so, long term, ultimately, that's is going to be what creates a functional ecosystem, is having a solid foundational tools. Otherwise, as things build, the weaknesses in the foundational design start to show up. So, from my perspective, that has to be something that we do right, and we're doing a pretty good job in terms of saying, okay, the base foundation or primitives for DeFi, or the primitives for other projects that come and build, have certainly improved dramatically and will continue to. And ultimately, as the ecosystem develops over time, everything is going to be dependent on that foundation that's laid. It's sad to say, but like, with the Luna UST thing, they actually had a huge community that was building around that ecosystem, but the foundation itself was flawed. And if the foundation has issues, all of those people that invested not just their money, but from a development standpoint, their time, their energy, in terms of building on top of that foundation, are now in trouble. So ultimately, like from the Ergo Foundation standpoint, and really looking at how we can serve the community best long term, we have to get that right. Otherwise, it just creates problems for everybody else long term.
Yeah, it has to be organic. The growth has to be organic. It has to be done the right way, because you can try to throw money at getting development done faster, and sometimes it works. If you just hire enough people and you pay them enough money, you could speed things up. It's possible, but community and fundamentals have to be organic. If those are flawed, then everything else on top of it is going to topple. It doesn't matter how strong things are on top of it. Doesn't matter how organic community is on top of it. If the fundamentals of if the foundation is flawed, that's what's going to happen. And look, well, say that, I mean, the Ergo community is a lot more, I guess, a lot more focused with it, without really kind of going around too much. I mean, sometimes I see it, but not going around too much and kind of, saying this project is that, this project is that. Cardano community kind of does that sometimes. I always say, look, don't knock other projects. Doesn't matter how, and that's just me. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying that's just me. Don't knock other projects. I mean, unless it's a complete scam, yeah, they have flaws, and let this whole market kind of cleanse itself. But you really have to think about with the Luna thing, right? They came out, and then these guys were actually, and I'm talking about the Cardano community right now, and then there were a lot. There was some toxicity coming from the Luna community on the Cardano community, and saying, oh, these guys, you guys are full of crap, and look at us, we're chugging along, or our market cap is bigger than your market cap, whatever. All this whole appendage measuring thing that we like to do in this space sometimes. And now, it just went down faster than BitConnect. If you guys remember how fast BitConnect didn't go down this fast, and yeah, some people might want to say, ha, 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 you guys suck. That's what happens. Don't. These are real people. These are people that there are obviously some shitty players in there, okay, that caused this kind of thing, okay? But the bulk of the community are just regular people, and a lot of these people they've lost everything. They've lost everything. And it doesn't matter what gets rolled out after this. Doesn't matter what the LFG does or whatever. Doesn't matter. It's never going to fix itself. Never. I don't see how they could fix itself unless they do like this whole, Doctor Strange universe reset thing that they did in Spider-Man. Yeah. I just don't see it. And the whole point here is that, as much as some people might want to say, yeah, I told you so, don't. Instead, offer somebody who is in peril right now because of what happened with Luna a way to recover, if it recover in the Ergo community, and really understand where you can embrace the fundamentals, you can grow, show them a place of friendship, show them a place of welcome. The same with the Cardano community. I would like to ask everybody, who's watching this from the Cardano community to do the same thing. Let bygones be bygones, and kind of let these people in. Give them a way to recover. And I think that's the only way we're going to grow. And that's when I think more and more people realize that building on fundamentals, like what Joe was saying, building a foundation is what saves you in these kinds of situations. Even if you're not the biggest kid on the block when the market is at its peak, when these kind of things happen, you're still here, and a bunch of those guys are not. And that's why this foundation matters.
And also, I do believe that, when you see either hacks or exploits or design flaws, the post-mortem, discovery, kind of the autopsy, is really one of the most important things we can do to make sure that we don't have any vulnerabilities, or we don't inherit any of, past mistakes that are kind of being built internally in our ecosystem. I think that's one of the most important things long term this industry can do, is when something goes wrong, that's the time to really understand, okay, well, what was the cause vulnerabilities, and then make sure that those kind of dependencies or design don't exist in our ecosystem.